Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time joining, thank you. If you're a previous subscriber or a new subscriber, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today, as you can tell from the thumbnail for this video, we're going to be making another Cricut cutting design. I have my Cricut machine here set up, and I'm going to be using the Cricut Explore 4. I do have a video about this machine when I purchased it, so if you would like to see that video, I will refer to it down below in the description box. Okay, so the design that we're going to be making is a Shadowbox design, and I'm going to show you here what that looks like. Let me separate this here. I have cut it out 3 different times in 3 different colorways. There's only a little bit of difference in between these two, but I'm going to show you what I've done first, and then I'm going to show you the Etsy store I purchased it from. Okay, so this is the first one, and I'm going to just put this on the back of the mat so you guys can see better what it looks like. And there we go on that one. And I cut this in 2 different ways. I used a light brown paper for this one, or light brown cardstock for this one, and I wasn't sure if I liked it. So what I did is I cut it in another brown, and I liked this one a little bit better. Now when I show you the design, let me show you that here. So right here, this is what the listing looks like on the Etsy store when I purchased it. And you could tell that the colors are a little bit kind of like sepia brown tones and then the orange tones. And I had the orange cardstocks, but I didn't have the brown cardstocks. So I kind of got as close as I could, and then with a black on the very top. But then looking on her Etsy store, I found that she has another design with the same cutout, but it's just a little bit larger and in a rectangular shape instead of the square. So what I will be doing is I'm going to be using a blue colorway, and I have that sample cutout here. So you can see what the different ones will look like. And there's that one. And I really, really like the way the blue looks. It's nice and soft. And this is called Romantic Couple on the Bridge, or Romantic Couple on Bridge. And I'm going to be making this as an anniversary shadow box card for me and my husband's 28th anniversary. So I really like the soft blues and the deep blue on top. So that's what we're going to be using. So let me set that aside. I'm going to set these other ones aside as well. And I'm going to show you here on the Etsy store I purchased these from. And we have that here. And her store is called 3D Cut Craft. And her name is Olivia. She has a 4.9 star rating. And definitely, guys, please go and check out her site, because she has absolutely incredible, I'm not kidding, incredible designs. I will be making these 2 designs as well here. A wolf kind of howling, and then a mountain, and then a wolf howling at the moon. And then she gifted me this one because we are working together, and I asked her when I purchased my first design if it would be okay if I shared this design with you on my YouTube channel, and she has given me the permission to do that. Now, in the process of cutting this out and learning this design, I had a lot of questions for her. I am very new to the Cricut machines, as you know. Since July, I bought my Cricut Joy Extra, and then I have since bought my Cricut Explore 4. Now, I have a lot to learn still. So I was asking her a lot of questions because I was not sure how to correctly resize a shadow box design so each piece was uniform in their size. And she, in between the Etsy contact seller We conversed back and forth, and let me tell you, this woman has some amazing customer relations. She was so kind and so nice, and we really, I think we kind of really hit it off. She's a really nice woman, and I am definitely going to be going to her shop more for some more designs in the future. But what we're going to do now is I am going to show you the cardstocks that I'm going to be using. Then we are going to, let's see, then we're going, okay, so I'll show you the cardstocks, and I have those already on my mats to save some time. If I didn't, this would be a very long video. Okay, so I'm going to show you our tools real quick, and then we're going to get started. So you're going to want a braying tool or something that you can roll over your mat. And this is just to ensure that your cardstock adheres to your mat evenly throughout and properly. Okay, so I have all that. Then what you're going to do is you're going to use a spatula. I have two here, one from an off-market brand I purchased on Amazon, and then I have some Cricut ones that came with my Explore 4 when I purchased it. So definitely a spatula. You are going to need a scoring tool. I have two different ones, one from the off brand, one from the Cricut brand. And I found that I really like the off brand a little bit better because the tip is just slightly more pointy than what the Cricut one is. So that's the one that I'm going to be using today. Then you are going to need your weeding tool. And I got two different ones. I mean, they're the same exact ones, but just different colors. Let me pop that off. So I have the off-brand I bought, and then the Cricut one that came with my machine. And the one that the off-brand I bought has this really nice clip-on protector for the pointy end of your braying, or not your braying, I'm sorry, your weeding tool. And then you're going to want some tweezers. And the tweezers are for when you are weeding the really intricate areas, the intricate cut areas for some of the small pieces. It just helps you kind of get those pieces a little bit better. These are the tweezers that came with the off-brand that I purchased from Amazon, and I hate them. I absolutely hate these tweezers. So you squeeze them and they kind of lock onto whatever you're grabbing. And I have ripped things before because I forget to squeeze it to release the piece as I'm moving away from it. So I don't really like these as much. So I then have two other pairs of tweezers, and I've gotten these at, I think I bought this pair. No, my husband gave me these pair. These were in like some kind of a tool set he had, and so he gave them to me because he just doesn't use them anymore. And they're really great because they're kind of got a really nice point to them, and they are curved like you can see. And then this is just an old pair that I kind of had him grind down the ends a little bit so they are a little more pointy. And hopefully you guys can kind of see that they are kind of like pointy. And they're just easier to kind of grab really small items or really small pieces. Then I also have a X-Acto blade, and this is called the pen blade. And I did purchase this at a quilt show a couple years back, but you just kind of push it open and the blade comes out the end. And I really like it because it's a really narrow blade, basically a scalpel is what it is. And I'm able to get some of these really intricate pieces off when I'm removing the cardstock from the mat. I'm able to gently finesse those little tiny cuts off the mat without tearing them. And it has a really nice, you can put the blade away so it's nice and safe. You're also going to want some type of tool that when you are constructing the frame that goes around, when you're constructing the Shadowbox portion, to get your accurate folds, and they help create a nice sharp creased fold. And you're just going to run them over the, I mean, you can use your finger, it doesn't matter. But I had these, you use these a lot in card making and things like that. So I had them already ahead of time. So I have those. Okay, I'm going to show you the cardstocks I'm using. Then we are going to load the first cut file into the machine, and we're going to get cutting. So I am using the colorway called Cape Cod, and this is what that looks like. I am using the Recollections brand, and I purchased this from Michael's. The only color I'm not using is this one here, because it is a really bright kind of turquoise color, and I just didn't like it. I just didn't like it, as I wanted something softer. So I am using a pastel blue that I have from some other cardstocks I have. Okay, so this is the first piece. This is the pastel blue that I'm using. And I number my cutting mats. That way, if I am doing multiple cuts for a design, I know which one I'm using. So this will be cut 1, and that's the pastel blue. Come on. Then the next one is going to be kind of a sky blue. Our next one is, I'm calling it a cornflower blue. What color would you guys call that? And then we have a bright blue, and then my very last piece is going to be a dark navy blue. And the reason why I just don't have this one on the mat yet is because the first one cuts so quickly that I can remove it and just attach the 5th cut. Okay, so I put these next to the machine in order, and I just kind of stack them up so I can grab them easily. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video here. I am going to get the first cut set into the machine, and what that first cut is going to be is this one. This is just kind of like a foundation piece, I believe. I could be wrong, but it's just a little bit, it does a little bit of background, but not a lot. So this is going to be our first piece. I'm going to go ahead and put this mat on the machine, but actually what I want to show you, I purchased this little thing here, and you can see it just kind of sits in the little grooves here of the machine. And what this does is it lets the mat ride evenly into the machine, because you can see here, I can put my hand completely under it. And when I was first cutting with these mats on this machine, I was having some really bad quality cutting because my mat, let me show you, my mat was curving. See how it's sloping down? And what it does is it lifts up this portion of the mat here. And I was having really bad really bad cuts for especially the intricate cutting parts. And it was just tearing up my cardstock. So what I did is I purchased this, and now the mat rides smoothly in. And when it was doing that buckle, it was causing the cardstock to lift off because the mat was kind of like flexing. So it was, the cardstock wasn't sticking. Okay, so with that said, now what I'm going to do, we're going to start with the cut files. What I'm going to do for each piece, I am going to mark some text on the cardstock here that this is going to be cut file 1, because there's going to be 5 different ones that we're going to be cutting, or 5 different layers. So what I'll just put layer 1. I'll write that in some text here on the video so you guys know what we're going to be doing. So from this point, I'm not going to be doing a lot of talking. We are just going to be working on doing the cut files. When we get these complete, then I will come back and I will talk about our next step of constructing the Shadowbox frame. I will be right back. Okay, so I have our first piece loaded here into the machine. You can see that I have the little blinking light here off to the side. Hopefully you guys can see that. and that is to load the mat in the machine. So after this portion, I won't be doing a lot of talking. I will be cutting everything on heavy cardstock, and I am applying more pressure. So for all of the 5 layers, we will be cutting it on those settings. Okay, here we go. Okay, cut file 2 or layer 2. Number 2 is complete. I'm going to set it aside, and I will be removing them all off the mat, off camera, just to save a little bit of time. I'm going to set up for cut file 3 or layer number 3. Okay, so we are set up for cut file 3 or layer number 3. What that one looks like is this one. So we're going to start the silhouette of the tree and the water. I have it set in the machine. We're going to go ahead and load the mat. Start. Okay, we have layer number 3 done. Removing from the mat, setting this one aside. I'm going to pause again for cut layer 4, and that is what this one is going to look like. So now we are going to actually cut the silhouette of the couple. I'm going to pause again to load, and we will be right back. Okay, cutting number 4, or cut layer 4. And start. This layer and the final layer are the two that take the longest, I think. Okay, we are complete with that layer. So that was layer 4. I'm going to set that one aside, pause again, load our final and 5th layer, and I will be right back. Okay, we are ready to go for the final and 5th layer. This one, I believe, kind of takes the longest, so we're just going to go ahead and let it do its thing. And that's what this one's going to look like, so let's go ahead and hit start. And so this has a lot of really small detail. Okay, we are completely finished with our 5th layer or 5th cut file. Now I am calling them either 5th layer or cut file. I have seen some other YouTubers that are Cricut artists that call them by either way, either a cut file or a SVG file, a layer. I'm calling them by both because since this is a shadow box, you are basically constructing layers. Okay, so we have our 5 layers cut. I am going to pause the video and I am going to remove each one from the mat. And it does take a little bit of time because you want to be really careful about removing them from the mats so you don't bend them a lot or cause any tears where there are really fine detail. Now I'm going to show you what I mean by that because when I did remove this one, I kind of bent some of the fine detail pieces, and I want to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to kind of stand up so I can show you. Okay, so if you can see here on these different layers, on this one would have been the 3rd layer, this blue, and you can kind of see where it's kind of like elevated right there. What I did when I was removing it, I kind of like bent the layers a little bit and I nearly tore some of this intricate cut. One of the things you can do is that if it does get a little raised up like this, you can take a small iron or just a regular iron. I do it on my highest heat setting because it is just the easiest for me. And what you do is you either put it down on a pressing mat or on a ironing board and you lightly press the paper so it smooths itself back out. What I use is I use a wool pressing mat, and these are typically used when you do quilting. And it's just, since I do a lot of quilting, I just use my wool pressing mat because it's just the easiest thing for me. Okay, now with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to remove all the pieces off of the mats, and then when we come back, I will show you what those all look like, and we will proceed to our next part where we're going to be actually cutting out our shadow box frame. Okay, I will be back shortly. Okay guys, sorry I have been a little bit away from the camera for probably about an hour, hour and a half. I kept on having some power surges while I was starting to separate the cut pieces from the sections we had just cut previously in the video. And I was really worried about losing all my video that we had already filmed, all the footage that we had already filmed. So I just completely turned everything off, shut everything down, and made sure that I didn't lose any footage. So I am now back up and we are going to continue cutting. I am going to be cutting the boxed frame now. I have it all set in the machine, and I am going to be using another frame design that is from one of her other files that I've purchased. And that's just because I am having a really hard time with the 5 different sizes of the box frame that came with this design. So instead of stressing out, what I did is with messaging her, I decided that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the simpler design. But what I have found out is that I don't have enough of one color of the cardstock. So one way that you can cheat is if you do not have enough of one color, you can turn it over because it will be one-sided. So you got your design on one side, and then you have solid color on the other side. So I didn't have enough of this one, and I thought it would be really pretty on this design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to do this design in white, but I'm going to just use the back of some cardstock because it's not going to be seen anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and load the cardstock. It is telling me that I am going to need, let me double check, 5 different pieces. So I have 5 different pieces of cardstock here, and I have 3 pieces of this kind of like yellowy orange, and I'm just not a huge fan of this color, so I'm just going to use the back of it. And that's one way in case of like an emergency. If you're making a project and you don't have the cardstock that you need, you can just use the back of it. So that's what we're going to go ahead and do, because we are going to be folding the cardstock to where it's on the inside, so it's not really going to show anything. Okay, so I'm going to pause. Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to pause. We're just going to go ahead and do what we got to do. And I am going to be setting this on a heavier, well, I think we'll be okay. I was going to say that I was going to set this on a heavier cardstock, but I think I am okay, because this is very similar to what the 5 pieces that we have already cut, and I'm just making sure this is all attached. I am going to, okay, I'm going to take my scoring tool and put it in the machine, because you will have to do some scoring on this. Now there are going to be some editing that you have to do in Cricut Design Space to make your score lines. You have to change them from a cut line to a score line, and we have done that here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to load this in, and I am going to attach the other pieces to the other mats while this one's cutting and scoring. And while we're doing that, we're just going to, I'm going to be quiet so you guys can see what's happening. We're going to go ahead and start. We are going to be needing 5 different mats, so after I cut the first one, I will take those pieces off and add the next piece to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. Okay, I'm going to hit go. It's going to do the score lines first and then the cut lines. And then when all that is finished, what I will do is I will pause the camera and continue doing the weeding of the cut files. I don't know why we are having some power surges. I'm not sure what's happening, but hopefully everything will be okay and we don't lose any footage. Okay, so now it's going to start the cut. Okay, literally that is already finished, so I'm going to unload that. I am going to put our next one in, and it is, you are going to have to select your settings each time unless you click the little option in Design Space where it says Remember Material Settings. So I went ahead and did that, so we're just going to load number 2. Or mat number 2. I am going to take this one off so I can go ahead and get the other piece loaded on. Go ahead and hit start. I'm going to set this up here out of the way. Come on, you going to load? Okay. Okay, so now it's going to do the cut. Okay, so that one is already completed. Let's go ahead and remove it. I'm going to set it aside, start the third cut, and it remembered my settings, so all I have to do is just load the mat into the machine, press load mat, and then press go when it is ready to cut. Okay, I really do wish I had more of this cardstock because it is really beautiful. That is one thing that I am going to do in the near future. I am going to make sure that I have all of my items that I need before I start a project. I think I am going to be ordering some cardstock on Amazon, some 12 by 12 cardstocks. Okay, so this one was very just simple cut. It is just a big square, and this is huge. I'm hoping that is accurate. Okay, we're going to remove. And let's go ahead and put mat number 4 into the machine. And hit start. Come on. I still have a fear of using directional fabric like stripes. Ow. Okay, sorry about that. I was returning a message on my phone, so I was, okay. So now we are finished with that. I am going to try something here really quickly. I do not know if what we just cut is going to be accurate, so I am going to measure. Okay, see, it's not, I don't know what happened because actually, this is the outer frame, so this one's not going to count. So I think what I'm going to do, because this is saying about 7.5, and that's okay. What I am going to do, we're going to put our final mat inside and do the final cut. There are a total of 5 mats that I had to cut. I think my internet is really slow right now. We're having a storm, I think, that is trying to come through. And if you notice how the hesitation is a little bit long before when I load the mat and it starts the cut. This is cutting the other pieces of the box section of the frame. Okay, now that is it. I am going to unload I am going to take everything off the mat. I am going to continue weeding these pieces so we have everything ready to go. This final piece is what takes the longest because you can really see there's a lot of intricate pieces that I have to remove out of there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to hit done. I am finished with that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to remove my scoring stylus from the machine. I'm going to turn the power off and set this aside, and we're going to close it up, and I'm going to move that aside so that way when I come back I have a lot more room here on the desk to show you what our next steps are going to be. So it is going to take me probably about 30 minutes or so to get this organized, and then I will be back. Okay guys, so I have everything ready. Now what we are going to do is we are going to start our assembly process. But before I do that, I want to show you how you can fix your pieces if when you took them off the mat and you're weeding them. As you can see on this one here, this little portion is lifting up a little bit. Hopefully you guys can see that. And what I want to do, this piece kind of wrinkled a little bit when I was taking it off the mat, and I am kind of really a perfectionist when it comes to when I do something, and especially if I'm going to be selling it or gifting it to somebody, I want it to be in the best quality that I can get it, or the best to my abilities. So what I do is I have a little mini iron over here off to the side, and I think I mentioned it in the beginning of the video that what I do sometimes is I will press my cardstock. So on some of the little pieces that are raised up, this is our first piece and you don't really need to press that one. So what I'm going to do is I am just going to gently press the cardstock, and I don't want to hold the heat on it too long because I really don't want to burn the cardstock. So I'm just gently pressing it. Okay. And some of the assembly, if you are going to be using any of like the foam to hold anything down, that will help as well. And when you start doing your layers, assembling everything, it'll help. Okay, so this one's not really going down too much, so we're just going to probably put a small piece of foam or maybe a dot of glue on this one when we're assembling it. Okay, so there's that one. This is our next third layer, if you remember. And this is all this little tree detail kind of curls up on all the other test pieces that I cut. All of them did that on this one. And I don't know if it was just more than likely user error when I was taking it off the mat. I wasn't being careful enough. And I need to stand up. Hang on just a second. I'm going to shut my door. My husband just went off to bed, and I am still going to be up working, so I don't know if he closed the door or what he did. So just to be a little more considerate, I shut my door. Okay, so now I like that because it's laying flat. And you really want to be careful where you're putting everything because you don't want it to tear. It is very easy to tear. Okay, so this is the part I'm kind of worried about here because I really was a little aggressive when I was getting this portion here off the mat. And I'm just trying to Also, this is a trick that you can do if your cardstock isn't cutting very good. You can also iron your cardstock. You'd be really surprised, but humidity, if you're having like really rainy weather, or if you have a, like a humidifier in your home, you may have some problems with cutting. It's not always the blade. It's not always your mat. It's not always the design. It could be something as simple as the weather affecting your cardstock. Now, sometimes people don't believe it. I've made comments on some of the Cricut groups on my Facebook groups I belong to, and they never even considered that weather could affect the way their cardstock is cutting. Okay, so that one's really flat. I really like that. I can put some of the foam down. There we go. And then our last piece. This is the one that I'm really worried about because this one does have a lot of intricate cuts. And it's easy to get some of the pieces bent. So I am just going to make sure that we get this piece pressed really well. And you could see where you put the iron on, it does kind of discolor the paper a little bit just from the heat. But what it is, once it cools back down, the color will go back to normal. And you can see I'm not really holding it on there very long. Okay, so I have all of my little pieces pressed. I do see a little piece here that I missed while weeding, and it's just a little tiny piece right here. So I'm going to get that off. Try to. Come on. Why aren't you coming off? And it's just a little sliver here. Okay, there we go. And see, see how little that was? So just a little piece. I'm just going to make sure that everything looks okay. Everything looks great. So now I'm going to make sure that I unplug my iron and I put it away so it's not in my way and I don't burn myself. Our next step, what we're going to be doing now, is we are going to be gluing the frame. So we are almost done with this project, and I'm just going to, there we go. And I'm just going to put this up here out of my way so I don't burn myself. Okay, so we have all of our pieces pressed, and I'm going to gently lay these over here to the side. I am now done with my pressing mat. And what we're going to do now is we are going to start folding and making sure our folded pieces for the frame are nice and crisply folded. And I'm going to show you how to fold these. She does have printed instructions on her site, and I'm hoping I'm using the right one for this particular file. If not, I'm sure if you probably asked her for the instructions, she would happily give them to you, because her customer service and her customer relations was absolutely amazing. And I'm definitely going to be sharing in one of my, well, most of my Facebook groups. I think I belong to 4 or 5 Cricut Facebook groups. Okay, sorry guys, I just started folding and forgot to tell you what I was doing. Okay, so there are a couple different pieces. Let me look on the directions here. She has them labeled as different pieces, and these ones here, so this one that looks like this, and I started folding it, are labeled B. So you can label them if you need to, And these ones are section A. Okay, so you're going to have 2 section A's and 2 section B's. Then we have our, this is going to be, I think, the frame piece that's going to help hold up the frame when done. This is going to be our outside border, so when we're done, it's going to be the border around. And this is going to be the back of our frame. I like the idea that it's white because it is going to be really pretty. Or I could even do the yellow for the moon and reflecting on the water itself. So that was a happy little accident. I kind of like that. Let's see. Kind of like the white better. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. So you're going to take your pieces and you are going to fold them all inward. Okay, so where your, let's see. Fold the 4 long pieces so that the folded marks remain on the inside. Okay, so like so. I am every folded line. So what another tip I can give you is that when your piece is down, so like so, do your first one, go to your next one, and just keep folding. So you're kind of like rolling it upwards. I hope that makes sense. So this is our next one here. And what I do is I start on the edge of each side and fold, and just kind of gently, kind of like where the scored line is. I know I'm sorry if this is hard for you guys to see. And then you're going to fold each line, and whichever tool you're going to use to make your seam or your fold really crisp, just push it down really carefully. Do not use a sharp edge. See how I'm holding it flatter? The reason why I'm doing that is because I don't want my tool to make any scratch marks in the cardstock. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so this one and this one. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold all of my pieces. You know what? Let's go ahead and finish with this one. Then I'm going to show you how to do the next one. And then the other pieces I will fold off camera just to save some time. Okay, so I'm going to crease, make sure this is creased sharp. And the reason why you want them to be creased and nice and sharp is because when you are assembling it, it's going to fit even better. And then you have a little flap here with a score line here and here, and you're going to fold those down like so. So when you assemble this, you're going to have it all tucked in, and you're going to have a nice little boxed piece. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you on the next piece how you will do that. It's basically the same thing, but your little folded tabs are going to be on this portion. So let's go ahead and do that one as well. And I almost folded incorrectly there, so you really do want to make sure that you are paying attention to your crease lines or your scored lines. Okay. Ooh, I almost messed up. I almost creased in the wrong spot. That was close. It's really easy to actually do that because unless you have a scoring tool for your machine, like the foil tool, and I think that applies a little bit more pressure to the cardstock. You're going to, the lines on here, I really don't know if you can even see those score lines. Okay, you can barely see them. So see how faint they are? It's almost like a ghost of a line. They are so easy to miss, but you are really just scoring it. You don't want it to cut in any way. I know some people that say that there are other tricks to scoring, but if you're just going to be scoring and not cutting, you can put like a piece of the foam on the mat first and then tape your cardstock over it. I've seen somebody do that, and it helps you get a better score line. I did not like that idea because you're not going to, if you're going to be cutting and scoring a piece, you don't want to risk your score lines being in the incorrect place, if that makes sense. Because you're going to, if you take it out of the machine in any way, you can risk not getting it lined back up into the machine correctly. Okay. So we have an A part and a B part folded. And I'm going to fold this one and fold this one. Okay, so this portion is the A. This portion with the tabs here on the ends like this are B. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to, let me make sure I'm doing that right. Yes, okay. So I made sure I told you the pieces correctly. So now what I'm going to do is I will fold these other two pieces off camera to save time. We're going to fold this piece. And what this piece is going to be is this is going to be the very back of the frame. And this is going to be where you, like a picture frame, that where you rest it on. Okay, so I'm looking over here to my left on my computer screen, and I want to make sure I get these folded correctly. So there's a score line here, 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 and up here. All the way across, there's here, one here and here, here and here, here and here. Now, there are a couple different ones on here that I saw on her display that, depending on how you are going to be doing your frame, if you want to hang these up on the wall, you're not going to use this piece because you just need the boxed frame. This is actually like the stand portion of when you set it somewhere. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to glue this piece on because I'm going to give my husband the option of putting it on a wall or setting it like a picture frame. So I'm going to eliminate this portion for now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and fold it so you guys do see how it is, how it is to be folded correctly. And I'm scrolling down to make sure that I get my fold lines correctly, because you do have to fold each one of these in a certain direction. Okay, so your first line here and here are going to go down. Then your next line here is going up, like so. And then this one is going to go down. And you're going to do both sides like that. This one didn't really... Come on. Let's go ahead and do that there. This one and this one. So we're going to go ahead and do the other side. And that one. That one. And this one. Okay. So that is how that's going to look there. When you have it folded, that is the way it's going to look, like so. Then you have this line up here. And if you are going to be attaching this to your frame, or the back of the frame, this is what's going to kind of rest up against the back of the frame, so it has a stand to sit on. So it's actually going to be kind of sitting like this on the back of the frame, because actually, sorry, I think... I'm not sure. We'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause. I'm going to fold the remaining pieces, remaining pieces, and then I'm going to show you how we assemble. Give me just a moment. Okay, so I have got all of my pieces folded. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to show you how you assemble the frame. And there is a couple little steps to do this. So I'm going to make sure these are moved aside so I don't damage anything. You are going to bring your backing piece in, because after you assemble two pieces, you're going to attach it. And what that does is it just helps those pieces have some stability, I guess we could call it. Okay, so I'm making sure I am looking at my instructions correctly. And what you're going to do is you're first going to take a bead of glue down this little flap on each one here. And you are going to glue that to the other side. And you want to make sure that your point ends up nice and with the end of each one. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's move this aside just a little. So I'm going to be using the original tacky glue. I really like this glue. And I'm just going to put a little bit. And what you can do, if you wish, is you can... Let me show you here. I'm just putting a little bit, and I'm going to rub my finger on it, and that just kind of smooths the glue out a little bit. I just wipe it on my palms so I don't get it anywhere else, and I attach. And you are going to want to make sure that you have these pieces dry before you move on to our next step after this. So I may take just a little bit of a break. So what I'm doing, see how I'm flattening it? I'm not flattening it all the way, so I kind of screw up the rest of the piece, or I'm going to try not to. But what that's going to do is that's just going to help me get that edge lined up really nicely. And that is your main goal when you're gluing it together, is you want your pieces to line up with the edges accurately. And this piece just kind of getting it on there. Okay, that's good. Okay, so also what I want to do is that when I'm gluing it, when we're doing the assembly part, I'll tell you here. Let's go ahead and get these glued. I'm going to go ahead and do this portion off so we can just save a little bit more time. Okay, so I have all 4 pieces glued. One little thing I want to show you is that while you're gluing these, if you are having a hard time for that glue to stick down, put that little part down and take a skewer and just kind of run it on the inside. I don't know if you guys can see that down in there, but you're just going to kind of run it on the inside flat against your table. And you're not really putting a lot of pressure. All you're doing is you're just making sure that that little flap adheres to the other piece of paper. Okay. Also, if you don't have to use a specialty glue. This is just what I have on hand, and I really like it. I have done some other projects with it and everything, and it's what I had on hand. I also use a lot of Elmer's school glue, and I have put that in a little squeeze bottle. I don't know if I said that at the beginning of the video, but I'm sorry if I forgot to mention that. Okay, so now our next step is you're going to want to make sure all of your glue is dry before you do your next step. This glue, if you don't use a lot of it, it sticks really well and it dries quickly. It says on the bottle, yeah, it doesn't say how long it takes to dry, but again, it's non-toxic, ultra strong, dries clear. You can't use this if you're going to be washing something, so you would have to use a different type of glue. Okay, so now our next step, I am scrolling down. You're going to grab, these are your B pieces where your little flaps are like this on the end. These are your A pieces where they tuck in like this, and you're kind of like the angle here. So what you're going to do is, let's leave one of those open and make sure that's pushed down. You don't want to fold them in yet because you're going to put some glue. So this is our A piece and this is our B piece. So what you want to do is you're going to put some glue on number A, or letter A, on this little flap. Then you're going to put some glue on this flap. And what I want to do is, where is my seam? Okay, so my seam that I glued is right here, and this seam that I glued is here. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that the glued seams are all going to be on one side, because I want a really nice finished look, and I'm going to put the glued seams down to my backing paper, the background paper. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure where, okay, so that's going to go like this. Where's the glued one on here? That one's going to go down. So down, 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 and down. So this is going to help me orient to which piece I'm going to be putting where. So again, these angles are our A piece. You're going to take your B piece and you're going to put some glue on the A. Take my lid back off. And on this little flap right here. So I'm going to hold the flap up and I'm going to just kind of put some glue on here, and I'm going to just smooth it with my finger, and I'm putting it all over this piece, so just where that little fold is. So I know that I get enough glue on it, because a previous one that I tried to make, I didn't get enough glue on it, and I was having a hard time for it to attach correctly. Okay, so on each little flap, so on the A portion you're going to put glue, and on the B portion you're going to put glue. So you're going to tuck this little piece in, and you're going to put your piece like this. So, oops, like this. And you are going to take that and you're going to fit it like so. So you're going to make sure this glued piece goes here and this glued piece goes on the inside. So I'm going to pop that in, and you'll know you are correct if you have your two little pieces like that, and you want to make sure that you hold them so that glue kind of attaches itself. This is a little step you can do now, but when you get the other pieces attached, it will be a little bit hard to do this. So I'm just making sure that that piece is going to be attached in there well enough. I'm going to do the same on this side, but it will be when you attach the two angles together, you won't be able to do this. So you got to be really careful. Okay, so that's my seamed part. This is my seamed part. Now your next step, what you're going to do is you are going to take this, take your back piecing, apply glue, okay, so you're going to do your first two pieces, then you are going to take your two other additional pieces and you're going to glue them as well. So you just want to do an L angle and an L angle. So do those first, and I'm going to pop one side open here so I know I am getting my seam laid down to the, okay, so on this one. And definitely, if you do have issues with the assembling the frame, ask her. Let her know that you are having some issues with the frame. I mean, she's happy to help you. That's what she's there for. She is absolutely a really nice lady. In between all of our messaging back and forth, I think between the two of us, we had a total of, I think it was 50 messages back and forth. So we did a lot of corresponding. And I'm going to tuck this one in. This is the side that I have all the, whoops, I didn't get glue enough on that edge. And it's really important to get it right on that edge. So you get a, whoops, you get a really nice attachment there. Okay, so put the two together. And again, if you flip it over and where your two angle pieces are coming together, that's how you'll know you are correct. I'm going to open this up and stick that down in there really well. I think that gets, make sure that gets down in there. I'm just making sure that that really gets on there well enough. And that my pieces stick well. Sorry guys, you probably saw that. I had to take my glasses off. Isn't it funny? You take your glasses off to see better. Okay, then I'm going to put this one down and again stick that down in there so I know that piece sticks well. I'm looking down inside there. And I'm just trying to make sure that my, see, it's not, okay, so I'm going to have to peel this off. I think I'm going to need to attach a bit more glue on this. It's not sticking well for me. So I'm going to go ahead and attach these two pieces off, and then when I get them done, I will be right back. Okay, so I have both angles glued together and they look pretty good. I could have probably put a little more glue on there, but I'm okay. It looks okay. So now what you're going to do is you've got your two angled pieces together. You're going to take your flat piece, and you can be using glue dots as well. If you have glue dots, you can do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on the top part and the side part, I'm going to put a bead of glue. And I am going to make sure that I do get enough on here, and I'm going to smooth it out with my finger again. And I just, that was kind of a little messy spot right there. And I just want to make sure that I do get enough glue on here. And I have these mats on my table. These are silicone mats that I purchased on Amazon. And when I do painting or anything like that, I like to have them down on my table just because it does protect the wood surface of my table. Okay, so I made a mess right there, so we're just going to move over a little bit and I will clean that off with a wet wipe while I let that, oops, while I let that glue get tacky. So that piece that just fell down was one of the practice frames that I did. Okay, let's wipe this off really quickly so we don't stick to the table. Sorry, guys. Okay, so that glue is getting a little tacky, so I'm making sure I get it all off my finger as well. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to lay this down, and I want to make sure that I lay this on right along that edge. And I got that piece, and let's come over here, and we have that piece. So I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to just kind of push it down, and we have that portion of our frame finished. Let me make sure that that is okay. I'm going to put my chopstick down in here just so, or my piece, just so I know that is attaching well. And it will be hard with the other ones because I'm not going to have the part glued yet. Okay, so that's that part. So now what I'm going to do is I need to now attach these ones. And I'm not going to be able to put my chopstick down inside there because now all of our pieces are going to be sealed. Okay. We are going to be going like this. Okay, so I want to put glue on this flap and this flap. And then I want to put glue on this flap and this one. So I'm going to do this part first, just because it's a little more cumbersome. And I just want to make sure we get that. Now guys, there are many different frames that I've seen. I have seen some free frames available on, I think it was Pinterest. So you could definitely check out if you have a different style of frame that you like better. Definitely go ahead and use that. And I just want to definitely make sure that this glue is tacky enough when I put this on, because this is going to be, we're going to be Let's see. Let's make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, yes. Yes, okay. So you're going to be doing kind of like 3 steps all on one on this one. You're going to be attaching these and you're going to be attaching these. So you got one here, you got one here and one here that you're going to be attaching, but you're also going to make sure that you're attaching it to the bottom as well. So this part might be a little more tricky, and we're just going to figure it out. We may, whoops, I almost got glue all over my shirt. Sorry guys if I am off frame. I tend to do that sometimes. I forget exactly where the camera is above me, and I have to make sure that I am in frame, and I know I'm not in frame. Sorry guys. Okay, so I have my glue on these pieces, and it is tacky. We are going to gently put, while this is getting tacky on there, we are now going to put glue again here. So I'm going to do this a little different this time and just lift it up so I'm not getting that glue all over the table again, and that way I don't have to clean it up. I'm one of those crafters that as I go along, I clean everything up, because I think when you are doing a video, you are portraying yourself, and being neat and clean and as you're working, I think is an important thing. It says a lot about what you're doing, and that you take pride in what you're doing. That's my belief. I don't want to insult anybody if you do things differently, but that's just myself. Okay, so we are attaching this way. So I'm going to gently slide this side in first because our glue is tacky. I need to make sure that I am getting it down here on the bottom as well, and on each corner. This piece is not going in right. Get in there. Okay, so I have to be really gently here on getting these together because it's not wanting to connect right. So I am having to be really careful because of the glue down here on the bottom as well. And I'm making sure, I'm trying not to distort my box either in any way. And I'm having a hard time. So you can see I didn't get this lined up quite right. And if I didn't let my glue get tacky, I think I would have been okay. I'm going to try to squeeze this together a little bit better. And I think when we get the top of our frame on, it is going to hide some of that. And I think I'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. Now, our next steps that we have all of the frame assembled, we are now going to start putting our cut files into the background. So I'm kind of getting this glue off my hand. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to take our cut pieces, and if I did this right, these are going to fit in here perfectly. Oh my God, guys, look at that! Oh, it fits in. I'm so excited that that fit. Okay, so I'm going to just put a drop of glue here. And I'm not going to use the foam on this layer. Okay, so I'm just going to do it that way. And up. So my glue on this one, it was wrong. So that's okay. Now we just put it like so. So that's our first layer into the frame. I am so excited, guys. I can't tell you how excited I am that this fit in there, because I think I got my measurements finally right, and this isn't going down correctly, but I'm going to be able to fix that when I put my border, the top border on. I'm going to use my little tool here to make sure I can get another little bit of glue right there in that spot, because it's not attaching well. Okay, there we go. So I know my frame did not go very well, but you do have to be really careful, and I think what I did wrong was, look, actually my glue dried before it even attached. So I'm going to just put another little bit of glue in there, and hopefully I can get that attached. Okay, so maybe that I just by holding that for a minute I can attach it. Okay guys, so far I know it hasn't been perfect. Doing the frame portion is one of the parts that stressed me the most. I have a little bit of OCD, and it just kind of stressed me out. Okay, so now our next piece, this was our cut layer 2. We're going to put it in. It fits as well. I may have, let me see, did I do that incorrectly? Yeah, I did. I put that incorrectly, but that's all right. We are going to, let's see, did I do that right? Yeah, we can go ahead and, because it's going to, that's going to be concealed. So I actually put this one in incorrectly. This side should have been on this side. Let me see if I can lift it out. Yeah, because my glue is not dry yet. So I can just flip it over and put a little more glue here. And it's not going to matter that there was glue already on here, because I am going to put some, I think I want to put a little bit of the foam down. And I will tell you what I mean. And that way I can get the layer. I hope that makes sense. So I have cut some of the strips, and I'm just going to cut a piece to fit in here. And I have a kitty hair, and I'm going to just put where I know I can put the foam up here. So let's just put a dot here, here, and here. And I know that this isn't going to interfere with the next layer. You're not going to be able to see this foam where it's at. See here, it's going to be like so. And I can do the same thing here and kind of elevate it a little. And you do not have to use the foam. This is absolute preference. You can do this with glue dots. Glue dots will kind of like raise it up a little bit as well. I'm just making sure that I am staying out of the area where this will be. Now what I am going to do here is I want to put a couple pieces of the foam on the back of this, just so it elevates it a little bit. So I'm going to just cut some small pieces. And again, you don't have to do this. This is all preference. I'm going to just cut some small pieces. and they can even be smaller. Okay, so like here, I'm going to put a piece. Now she doesn't say in her instructions to use, she doesn't have it listed that the foam pieces are needed. I am getting my tweezers here so I can put this down. I think I want to do it here. I have my other ones here that kind of... Okay, so these are a little bit easier because they have that curve. I can... Okay. And you don't have to do this again, guys. You don't have to do the foam. I just want to do it because it's going to help keep my layers elevated. And I'm going to cut a little tiny one there. Can you guys see how little that piece is that I'm cutting there? If you did not want to put the foam in, you would just glue the back piece and attach each layer. Just layer them in as the order that you cut them. Okay, that one's a little too big, so we're going to move this to another, we'll put it right here, right there. And I'm going to get another small piece for that, and I need an even smaller piece. So can you guys see actually how small I cut that one? So I just need a couple more along here. Does anybody else like the smell of glue? I kind of like the smell of it because it's just kind of like that little nostalgic thing of like school. Am I being weird? I remember there was this girl in school that sat next to me and she ate a whole bottle of glue in school one day and got sick. And that was back in, I was in elementary school, clear back then. That was like in the, oh God, I'm going to age myself, back in the 70s. Okay, I think I just want to do one more piece here and right here. So I'm going to cut another piece because that's going to be a small one. So I'm going to hold it with the tweezers and put the glue. And again, you don't have to do this. I just want to have that little bit of raised portion. And I'm going to cut this one. Okay guys, so I'm going to finish kind of putting the glue on here and I'll be right back. Okay, so I have all the little pieces of glue that I want to, or the foam that I want on this side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I put just a bit of glue on just each one so when they go down they will attach okay. And I don't need it on all of them, just the there, and this one I think. And I almost did put it on all of them. That one. Okay. And you can see here that I put some couple pieces down here where it'll be along the bottom. Okay, so now I'm going to gently put the bottom piece in first and lay it down. And then I'm going to just kind of gently tap these down so they adhere. And I have some glue there that, oh, that'll be covered later, not a big deal. Okay, so that is like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put another little bit of glue here on these other pieces of foam so everything attaches. Now this is going to be basically my base layer, if that makes sense. And I just want to make sure that I get it in there and it is attached in there nicely. I'm just kind of pushing down on these a little bit so I know that the glue is adhered. Okay, can you see how that looks elevated in there? There we go. Okay, so now our next piece, this one I am a little nervous about because there is such this little edge here. There's a lot of like filigree kind of look right there, and I do want it elevated as well. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a couple pieces of foam on these other edges, really tiny piece here and around the edges. Excuse me guys, I am getting the hiccups. I'm going to do that piece off camera. I will show you when I come back and then we will stick it back into the hoop or into the frame. Okay guys, I probably got a little bit of overexcited with the foam here. You can see that I've got quite a bit on little spots on the tree. I am going to put a piece right here just for some support right there as well. And again, you don't have to do this. I just want to do it so it really stands out and you can really see the layers. There we go. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put a little smidge, a dot here, and this is just so they attach down when I put the next, put it in. And I'm hoping that I am not making a mistake by doing the foam. And I'm just going to do just barely a little bit on these, enough just so they touch down. And I can get them into place. Okay, so I'm going to gently pick it up. Now we're going to put it in. And I'm going to put the bottom layer first. So that goes in. And just kind of like drop it into place. And I'm just kind of remembering where I have my pieces of foam so I can make sure they are attached down. And there we have our third cut layer. Can you guys see how it is standing out? And it's okay. One of the things I could have done is I could have put a layer on the back that was that you could shine light through, and I did that with a previous sample and I forgot to do it with this one, and it's okay. Because I really think what my husband's going to end up doing is hanging this on his wall and not really using it as like a frame. Okay, so I am going to now do our fourth layer. And again, I am just cutting some foam pieces. And I cut multiple strips of the foam, and I think I'm going to be okay. I'm going to put I know this is going to be a long video as well, guys, and I'm really sorry. But just wanted to show you guys on what you could do. Olivia, I hope you like this video. I really kind of like the idea of the foam though, because it's going to really give it some dimension. I did ask her in our chats if she used the foam pieces for the elevation, and she said you can if you wanted to. So, you know, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now this little section right here, where I'm not going to really put any foam on that, because it is going to kind of stick up as it is. I do have an itty bitty little sliver of foam that I may put right here, and that's it. I'm trying to make sure I remember to use my tweezers so I don't get everything all over my hands. The foam I am using is just the little craft foam sheets that you would make for like children doing the little foam letters. That is all I am using. You can buy it by the sheet for like 99 cents, I think it is. So we're just kind of putting them here and there. And you definitely want to make sure that you're putting them in areas that you won't see from the front. And that one might be a little wonky. Let's put it there. Put this one there. Okay, so I think that's enough for that piece. I'm not going to worry about that part, but I am going to do just a tiny little piece of foam right there. And seriously, my foam may be overkill here, but I really want it to look nice. So, okay, so now I'm going to put some strips. I want to make sure that my strips are narrow enough. And I'm just going to put one here. I just barely have these narrow enough. I can hear somebody racing out on our main road out there. Pretty much where I live. Everything to the west of us is like open desert. So some people will come out here, like the young kids and stuff, and they'll come out this way and they'll drag race on some of our roads. Okay. Now, and again, like I said, you don't have to use foam. And it would go a lot quicker because you would just be sticking your layers together. I'm going to put that here. And then I'm going to put one more just right there for some support. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I cut this one a little bit more off because I think I'm a little too wide for this top narrow strip. I'm just going to cut this in half, and it'll be enough to elevate. Yeah. You don't have to use a lot. I think I cut off maybe 5-6 strips that were some about a quarter inch wide, some a little less than that, some a little bit wider. And I'm going to put it up here. And again, I am getting glue on my table. And I may have gotten a little sloppy at the end of this project. I have been working on it for a couple days because I really wanted to get my measurements right. And I'm not sure how long we are at our video, but we're probably over definitely an hour. And I really apologize for that, guys. My videos tend to be longer. Just kind of par for the course. But I think if you're doing a tutorial, I mean, is it better for it to be longer or is it better for it to be shorter? What do you guys think? Okay, so I'm going to put a little glue on each, just a little dot on each one of these so it will adhere to the previous layer. And you definitely want to make sure this dries well. I'm trying not to put a whole bunch of glue. I don't want everything to pucker. Oh, I think my neighbor's home. You guys might have heard that little horn beep. I think he's setting his car alarm. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, we're going to put this layer in, and I'm going to put this top layer in first because it is that really small, narrow strip. And kind of push that down in there. Okay, and there is that layer, and you can really see the dimension. I'm really excited about that, guys. Okay, this part here I'm really disappointed about, but I think when I put the top frame on, it is going to hide that, so we will be all right. Okay, so now for this final layer, all I'm going to do is I'm going to put foam around the layers here, and one here, 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 and here. And excuse me, I'm really getting the hiccups. I ate kind of late, and I'm on, I think I've mentioned it before on a couple of my videos, I'm on a weight loss injection because I do have a thyroid condition. And if you're familiar with thyroid conditions, it's very easy to lose, it's very easy to gain weight, but it is very hard to lose weight. Okay, so now we're on our very final layer. I've cut 4 little pieces, so I'm going to show you where I'm going to put them. So you can see these little kind of like these little teardrop kind of pieces here. I'm going to put a piece of foam on each one of those. And that is going to be it for the small pieces. So, right there. That one. And I'm making sure that I kind of turn them so they're not going to be really obvious. And I think what I'll end up doing tonight is I will be staying up late because I want to get this video edited. I'm going to at least get it edited, and set to upload to YouTube. And then when it's uploaded, it will post. Okay, so I have a couple extra pieces here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these as little strip pieces. And I'll show you what I mean. That way I don't have to cut any additional foam. Okay, so I'm going to put it here and here. Let me know what you guys think so far. Would you have used the foam? Or would you have just layered them together? I kind of like it. So I'm going to do that. I kind of like the elevation that it's giving to the layers, to the 3D look. I am excited that I am almost finished. But I will have to kind of like put it aside, so somewhere where my husband, if he happens to come into my room, he won't see it. Okay, so I'm going to do... Let's see, I'm going to fold this in half, cut it, and then fold them in half and cut them again. I'm sorry guys if I keep getting out of frame. I kind of get into what I'm doing and I forget. Okay guys, so we are almost finished with this design. Please tell me what you think. Again, would you have used the foam? Definitely go to Olivia's site and check out her designs. She has many different themes. She's got Christmas, she's got school, she's got Halloween. I bought the, there was 33 designs in the Christmas multi-pack file, and I purchased that one. And I really like the idea of doing some Christmas ones maybe next year for gifts. I may not go into as much detail as with those. With the foam, I may just kind of like layer them together just really simply. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, we are really almost done. There are some other foams that you can buy. You can double up on the layers of foam if you want to have more raised up from your design. I think I'm going to have to glue a little piece right inside here because I missed just a little spot. So I'm going to do that in the previous layer. I'm just going to do a little piece of foam here, and I'm just going to move this one aside, and this piece is kind of sticking up a little, so I want to make sure that it lays down a little better. So there we go. Okay, so I just put a little piece of foam right here in this portion, and I'm just kind of pushing that down. Okay, so now I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on each one of these, and I'm probably using too much glue. I'm trying not to use a lot. Sometimes it's really easy to use a lot. But I do want to also make sure that this foam sticks. I've never used the foam in this type of way. What I've always used it before is when I'm doing dot painting. I will use it as like a cushion when I'm painting. I'll rest my hand down on it, and that way it just a little bit of comfort support. Okay, so we're putting our last piece in. Okay, guys, I have all 5 layers in. What do you guys think? I really like it. I like the way it looks. The only part I do not like, again, is right here. I will work on perfecting that when I do my next one. The next one we're going to be doing is going to be a wolf, I believe. If you guys want to see that design, please let me know and I will work on that one. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to glue the top portion. And what this is this is just a finish. So it hides your seams here and everything. So I am just going to, we're going to just put glue here and I will smooth it out. And I will do that here. I'm going to make sure I get enough glue on this corner so it does attach well. I'm going to smooth it out so I make sure that it you know what's funny? Now I'm not using enough. Okay. Whoops. So we're going to just kind of smooth this out. Got glue on the side. I'm going to make sure that this has enough glue so when I do put that, attach it, I can really kind of like put that corner down well. Okay, and again, I'm probably using too much glue, but I'm just excited. I'm almost done. Okay. Smooth it here. Okay, so I'm gonna wipe off on my hand, make sure I don't have a lot of glue on my finger. I'm going to turn it back around, start at the top, so I make sure that this is on there well. And I'm going to hold this portion down here so it kind of glues this part together well. Okay, now that I am practically, I'm going to try to get this glue off my hand. I'm kind of rubbing it together so I can get it all off. I don't like rubbing glue on my clothes, and I don't like, I should have had like a wipey or something off to the side. I'm going to still hold this so it kind of glues a little bit better right there in that portion. Okay, first impressions. I do have a lot of room for improvement. This is my first time making a shadow box type of design. If you are familiar with the channel, you will know that I have made the paper cut lanterns. So there was that. I really had fun with those designs. So that was my kind of biggest Cricut craft that I have done to date, besides this one. Now, I did have some issues on understanding resizing. Excuse me, I'm getting the hiccups still. And what it was is, what my issue was, is I wanted to make sure I resized accurately. And since I had never done it before, I just really wanted it to be the best that I could do it. Now, for a first try, I do need some improvement. For the next one, I am going to implement some things that I have learned along the way. I will definitely work on the construction of the frame. I think what I'll do with the foam, maybe I will just use some foam like around the edges to elevate and not on the inside unless it absolutely needs it. Or I will just flat the layers together and put them in the frame. And then maybe do just a layer of the foam behind so it is a little elevated off the back. Okay. Olivia, please let me know what you think. I definitely do think I could have done better, but for my first try, I think I did okay. Guys, okay, so let me tell you again, I am going to show you her Etsy store, and please go and check out her store, because her designs are absolutely incredible. And the reason why I made this design is I wanted something really romantic for our anniversary. And my husband always buys me these really, really fancy cards that have ribbons on them and little gems on them and all this stuff. And he always makes it a really big effort to buy me a beautiful card. Now, I wanted to do something special for him because he does not usually let me buy him gifts at all. And again, I don't know if I mentioned it, but as my anniversary gift, it was my new wedding ring. So this was a huge gift. This was 28th anniversary gift, and I just wanted to do something a little bit for him. He does not let me buy him stuff. I did purchase a couple little simple things, like a shirt, things like that, but he will not let me, he won't let me buy him any big gifts. 2.5 years ago, he bought me a Jeep. Not a new Jeep, but he bought me a Jeep, and that blew me away. And he, it's him. It's the way he is. But I'm gonna again show you Olivia's store. Again, this design I paid $3.60 on sale. They are on sale until November 30th. And again, her store is called 3D Craft Cut, or 3D Cut Craft, 4.9 star review rating. What I'm going to do now is I am going to get this video edited so I can get it uploaded. We have another big project coming up very soon that I am going to be working on a collaboration with. So the next couple of videos with the wolves, the two wolf designs here that you can see here at the bottom, those will be, I don't know if I'm going to be doing them now, but they will be in between the quilt videos that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be doing a special project with somebody, and please stay tuned for that. It is in the works, and that is being started tomorrow. So let me know what you guys think. Yeah, please let me know what you think. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you'd like to see more videos, and we will see you guys soon. Thanks for sticking through this long video. Bye, guys.